Hey, so welcome to our next lesson.
Hello.
We are doing the Normans and the Anglo-Saxons. So if you are...
No, we're not. We're doing the Romans.
What did I say?
Normans.
I always say the Normans. Goodness me. Again. Hey, and welcome to our next lesson. If you are taking the live in the UK test, we are doing chapter 4, the Romans. I always say the other thing. And the Anglo-Saxons. So this is getting a bit more interesting.
Yes, now it starts getting, because we do actually know what happened. Yeah.
Yes. Who do we start with?
Caesar. Julius Caesar.
So what did he do?
He decided that Britain was worth looking at. We had gold, we had tin, we had a lot of things they wanted. So he brought an army across. Fun enough that the Romans hated crossing the Channel. Apparently, apparently that was the big thing. They didn't know what England was going to be like.
Because they were not like sailors, or they were not.
They're not sailors.
The
soldiers.
other.
Yeah. And England was sort of cold and foggy, and they didn't know what on earth they were going to find. So they're a bit wary. Anyway, he did bring an army over, and famously said, "Veni, vidi, vici," which is Latin, meaning "I came, I saw, I conquered." And then he went away.
But he didn't.
And then he went away.
Didn't, because it was not successful.
No. He met much more
opposition.
Opposition than he expected. So he went away, and it wasn't until Emperor Claudius came and seriously did it again, and that Roman Britain.
So we need to mention the date, Sarah. So when did Julius
Caesar came and had a look at us in 55 BCE. Mm-hmm. And then Emperor Claudius came over in
43.
Common Era, CE 43.
What about his invasion?
He was serious about it and was much more successful. Mm-hmm. And arrived, took London, and worked his way slowly up through the country.
Yes, so he was successful, but there was one woman.
Well,
we need to talk about.
It's interesting. We don't know still how much of England went, "Oh, this is quite nice. We can have a lovely villa, and we can have hot baths, and we can have wine and olive oil." And a lot of British people went, "Oh, I don't mind the Romans." But there were still small pockets of severe opposition. And there's a story of Boudicca, who was getting on, who was getting on with the Romans. They were fine, everything was going very well. The chieftain, her husband, died, and she said, "Right, now I'm queen." And the Romans came along and said, "No, we don't have queens. No, sorry, you can't." And she gathered all the opposition she could from all the other tribes and attacked Roman towns and pretty well burnt London to the ground.
What's the name of her tribe?
The Iceni.
Yes, okay, because this may be a question that she was...
Boudicca and her tribe, the Iceni.
Mm-hmm. And there is also a statue of her in London.
Yeah, on the banks of the River Thames near the Houses of Parliament. She's driving a chariot.
Now we need to talk about...
Yeah, that's as far as they got, was what you can still see, which is Hadrian's Wall, which was south of the Hadrian's Wall is Roman, north of it, full of weird people, as far as they're concerned.
Yeah, so who was in Scotland, and why did they not want the Romans in? And what did they do? So now we need to talk about the Hadrian's Wall, yes.
Yeah, the Scots were then called the Picts.
And I've got an interesting fact about the Picts.
So have I. What's yours?
I mean, Sarah always knows way more, so now...
Tell me, what do you know?
Before we do these videos, I have to do my homework. So I know they are called the Picts.
Yes.
Because their bodies were...
okay.
Because their bodies were covered in tattoos.
Yeah, pictures.
Yes, see?
Yeah.
Oh, see? I'm getting...
And a blue dye for some reason, and they fought semi-naked, which terrified the Roman soldiers.
Oh!
Yeah, terrified the Roman soldiers. For some reason. But it was sort of guerrilla warfare. Mm-hmm. And quite honestly, the Romans thought, well, we can't be bothered with that lot. We'll just draw a line saying that is the border of the Roman Empire. We'll concentrate. But in fact, they think there's quite a lot of trade going on. Things are never black and white. They're always grey.
It is still visible today.
Yep.
You can still...
with several forts along it, and they do excavate some of these forts occasionally and see how the soldiers lived, what they ate. They found a lot of letters that they wrote and so on, so yeah.
Wow, and it's also a part of the UNESCO or something.
Apparently, yes.
Was this Windolanda?
It's one of the forts that they have excavated and found letters and utensils and swords and, all the things that archaeologists dig up.
How long did the Romans remain in Britain?
400 years.
400 years.
Yeah.
That's one of the questions, and we will give you the questions at the end as well. What did they
Okay.
do for Britain, or what did they leave? How are they remembered even today?
For roads and water supplies, fountains, fresh water in towns.
Villas. So they built towns.
Yeah.
Villas, because they didn't. Did they build castles, Sarah?
No.
They didn't, because they lived in villas where they had baths.
If you are ever in England, go to a city called Bath, which unsurprisingly is a town with a Roman bath in, hence it's called Bath. And there is still a perfectly preserved Roman bath system there.
They created a structure of law.
Yes, well, okay, right. A lot of our legal terms are still in Latin, which they are slowly trying to get rid of in our courts because not everyone understands them. But anyone who's lived in England for any length of time knows the word like alibi. Have you got an alibi? Where were you when the murder took place? Alibi is from the Roman, from the Latin. Have you heard of etc.? People saying da-da-da-da-da and etc. That's Latin. And there are a lot of words still in our language, but a lot in the legal profession is from the Latin. Okay? Ad infinitum, vice versa, all these things. Sorry.
Okay, good, that's interesting. And also they introduced plants and animals.
Yeah.
That's one of the questions.
As far as I know, they introduced pheasants to England. I think could have been rabbits, but I'm not sure about that.
So the influence is
Very
evident.
strong in the language of this country still.
Nice. But then they were not here forever. As we said, they remained in Britain for 400 years. What happened after? Who changed the history then?
Do you want to know why they went?
Yes, why did they go?
Because the Roman Empire was actually collapsing, and they needed the soldiers that were in Britain to go and fight elsewhere, and so they just took the soldiers out. A lot of them stayed behind and just became English, became British.
Oh, the lazy ones, they didn't want to fight for the Roman Empire.
Why would you? So some of them stayed, obviously, and we can detect that still in our DNA.
Okay,
Right,
then the
so they went.
Anglo-Saxons came.
Yes. So when the Romans went, a lot of tribes from the Germanic areas in the east went, ooh, free land, thanks very much. And we were invaded by the Jutes, the Angles, and the Saxons, who moved in. Nobody knows whether that was they came to conquer or just move in. They probably just moved in.
And the languages they spoke
Well,
were English. That's what I said.
they
The
spoke-
languages they spoke are the basis of modern day English.
Yeah. Yeah. The word Angles and English is not a coincidence.
No. So we need to talk about the Saturn Hoard.
Yeah.
There's a burial place of one of the kings, and they discovered the ship, and they found all the what's the word, artifacts.
Treasures and so on, yeah.
So that tells us a lot about the Anglo-Saxons.
Very good film about that.
Which one?
Came out a couple of years ago. It was about the Saturn Hoard treasure called, I don't know, I can't remember, but it's a nice, I mean, it's an entertainment film. It's not a documentary, but I recommend it actually. How they discovered this ship, how they discovered the contents.
Yeah, and some of that, they are really like in good condition.
Yeah. When people call this time the Dark Ages, when the Romans went, that's a terrible misnomer. Just because people didn't leave enough records for historians to see now doesn't mean they weren't doing anything. And as you can see from the Saturn Hoard, They were incredibly clever craftsmen. There was a lot of wealth. There was
yes.
some wonderful things going on.
What about the religion? During this period, there were some missionaries that came.
St. Columba.
Yes, and we need to mention them. So they came. So one of the famous one is Saint Patrick.
Yep.
Who would then become the patron of Ireland.
Yep.
And then we have Saint Columba. She founded a monastery on the island of Iona.
Yep.
Do you know? Okay. And then we have Saint Augustine.
Yeah.
And they spread Christianity in England.
Yeah.
Good. So we have told you what we feel is important and what you need to know about the Romans and the Anglo-Saxons. We are now going to give you questions. Please pause the video, answer the questions, and then we will also give you the answers. So check how much you already know or how much you have learned. Question number 1.
Who was the first Roman to attempt to invade Britain in 55 BCE? Was it A, Claudius, B, Caesar, C, Nero, or D, Hadrian?
And the correct answer is
Caesar.
yes.
Because it
Yes,
was
because
Claudius
the
in
53, he was not.
43.
He was, yes. Question number 2.
When did Emperor Claudius invade Britain? Was it A, 43 BCE, B, 43 CE, C, 55 BCE, or D, 55 CE? And the answer is B, Common Era, 43.
Yes, correct. Question number 3.
The Romans remained in Britain for how many years? Was it A, 300 years, B, 400 years, C, 500, or D, 1,000? And the answer is B, 400. What did the Roman army do in AD, Common Era 410? Was it A, invade Ireland, B, leave Britain, C, invade Scotland, or D, defeat Boudicca? And the answer is leave Britain.
Correct.
B.
Now, question number 5.
Which Roman emperor built a wall in the north of England to keep out the Picts? Was it A, Augustus, B, Nero, C, Hadrian, or D, Claudius? And the answer is C, Hadrian.
Question number 6.
Which of the following statements is correct? St. Augustine and St. Columba were early Christian missionaries. Or B, St. Augustine and St. Columba were leaders who fought against the Romans. The answer is A. They were early Christian missionaries.
Question number 7.
Who was the queen of the Iceni tribe that revolted? That's the word I should have had. Revolted against the Romans. 1, Caraticus, B, Boudicca, C, Cartimandua, or D, Paulinus? And the answer is B, Boudicca.
Question number 8.
Who lived in Britain before the Romans? A, the Anglo-Saxons, B, the Normans, C, the Celts, or D, the Vikings? Well, these are tricky questions. And the answer is the Celts, C.
Yes, and if you haven't got this one right, you can watch a previous video.
Yeah.
Because we talked about early Britain. And question number 9.
Which was not built by the Romans? A, amphitheatres, B, roads, C, towns, or D, castles? And the one that the Romans never built was castles.
Because they preferred
Fortified areas.
villas and yes. Hopefully you have answered all the questions correctly. If not, watch the video again, study, chapter 4, the Romans and the Anglo-Saxons from the guide. Always do more practice tests. There's plenty available. We have given you the links, the official links you should use. And the next one will be about
the Vikings and the Normans.
Yes.
Who are actually the same.
So another interesting video, and we'll see you next. Bye.
Bye-bye.